Welcome to this first episode of Women in Business. I'm Paul Lange, your host, and I'm going to be joined over the weeks by amazing women in business and other people who provide support and help and services and products to other women in business. I guess for me, one of the biggest challenges that I see with the professional women I work with, is that they quite often put a lot of pressure on themselves, undue pressure on themselves, to perform to the expectations of the world, and they take upon themselves a whole bunch of responsibility which really isn't theirs. And I'm really happy to be joined today by both a close friend and colleague, but also a lady, more importantly, a lady who helps professional women on a daily basis to discover a new way of being, and that is Helen Carrison, coming to us live from Roquebrune-Cap-Martin in the south of France, where she lives and works and just enjoys life on the French Riviera. Welcome, Helen. How are you going?
Thank you so much, Paul. I'm very well, thank you. And yes, it's a not quite as a sunny day as usual today on the French Riviera, but it's still gorgeous.
I can only imagine. Thank you very much. For all those people sitting in rainy areas somewhere. Helen, how about you lead us into this? I mean, because the topic today is, you can be a professional, successful woman without selling your soul. And I think I've sort of had a bit of a lead in there that a lot of women, they really just give up a lot, and they compromise a lot. And I think that's what where we're going with this today. Can you give us just a little bit of an intro?
Yeah, thanks, Paul. With a lot of the women I work with, and I'm a woman in business now on my own account, but I previously worked in corporate too. And there were three big mistakes, if you like, sort of between hypotheses that women make, and that is they give too much, they receive too little, and they put up with it. And these are the three patterns of behavior, if you like, that create a sense of overwhelm, a sense of always doing what others want you to do and not what you want to do, often a sense of being out of integrity with yourself, because these women know they're not looking after themselves. They know they're not doing what's best for them deep down, but they don't know how to change that. And these are the biggest areas where many women feel out of connection with themselves.
Yep. I can relate to that, and by the way, we can just as a side issue, obviously Mercury is retrograde. We just had a minor technical glitch with my earpiece. Listen, I totally hear where you're coming from, because a lot of the professional women I deal with, they have this. Well, the majority of them at least feel that they have to outperform the men. They feel that in order to succeed in this world, and it's still called a man's world. Quite frankly, I don't think so. I think a lot of the men need to play catch up in a lot of the areas, especially where we're going with social capitalism, social business. They still feel though that they need to outperform the guys, and they need to perform to the standards of this perceived business world, when really the complete opposite is the truth.
Well, yeah, you're right to say, but let's not get this wrong either. There is an inequality, there is an imbalance in the business world regarding the genders, right? We know that it is there. However, there is also the perception that, and that's the part that you're talking about, I think, Paul, that there is a perception that you have to be Superwoman. You have to do everything. You have to be, like you say, much better than everybody else. And I think that's a dangerous perception, because it leads actually to the opposite. It leads to you being so totally burned out and so totally unfocused, if you like, that you can't possibly be your best. And so I think you're right in that it's up to women now to go inwards and look in on themselves and connect with that and who they are and what they want and what their talents are and what their gifts are that they're not using because they're fighting an external battle. A battle, yeah, and I think that's the way to go, and I think men need to do this too. This isn't just a woman's thing. A lot of men need to go that space as well, because, as you say, yes, they need also to do that work on themselves to shift the balance. So it's very much about allowing the external stuff just to take back seat for a while, and that can be challenging because that's what you go into work and that's what you face every day. You face the colleagues, you face the crises, you face this, you face that. That is what you're living in. But that is so often a reactive world, and you are reacting to external situations. So going in and actually doing some work on yourself first, figuring out, okay, what am I actually responsible for here? Like you said at the start of the show, what am I responsible for? What am I taking responsibility for that's not mine? Where am I giving when in actual fact it would be better for me not to, and to allow other people to do their stuff, right? Where am I actually not allowing myself to receive? And so this is about having people help, delegating, allowing others to give to you, you know. And where are those issues? Where are those areas that I'm just putting up with this? What am I really just putting up with? Because that's where the feeling of selling your soul, the feeling of compromise, the feeling of being out of integrity with yourself comes from. So those are the areas that where I specifically work with business women so that they can become more fulfilled, basically.
Yeah, I know you do a whole bunch of stuff with people, including some retreats, which we'll get to in a second. But one of the key areas that you come across all the time with professional women and business women, one of the things that they do give up the most or don't take enough of the most. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of businesswomen watching this right now thinking, yeah, I can relate with what you're saying. So, and I'm sure there are a whole bunch of things which are pretty common amongst most professional women. What are the main areas that they pretty much all experience?
The main areas are not looking after themselves, so not giving to themselves, not giving time to themselves. So not taking the time to give dedicated me time when they do whatever they want to do, because there's always something that they have to take care of. And that's the second thing. They're taking care of everything. So, and I did this too, you know. When I was in that situation, I had kids. I had a divorced husband. I had all the things that made life really, really overwhelming, you know. And I had to do everything. And this is on top of actually performing in the job, you know. So it is about that whole giving. It's about not allowing yourself to receive. It's about actually not asking yourself what you really want. And this is a key one that comes back time and time again. What is it I really want? What is my purpose? What am I here for? I mean, so many times women say to me, you know, is this all there is? And I've asked myself the same question, you know. So when you get to that stage, it's time to stop and listen and ask yourself where are the areas you give too much, you receive too little, and what your purpose is about.
So that brings two things to mind, and they're sort of interlinked. And the first is about purpose. I think it doesn't really matter if it's a woman or a guy. I don't think there are a lot of people in the world, proportionally speaking, who really know what their purpose is, why they are here. In fact, I was speaking to a young professional lady the other day, and I asked her the question. I said, "Tell me, what's your purpose? Why are you here?" And she said, "Oh, my purpose in life is my children." I'm like, okay, well, let's sort of answer that. Let's go into just explore that. But so my question to you is this around, given that answer, and it seems very common, and also what you're saying about, women, they feel that they have to take care of everything, and that's usually in the home, but they take that into the workplace because they feel like, at the risk of pissing off every woman in business right now, but do they feel like they need to mother the people in business? Do they feel that the men are like their husbands at home, not doing enough of the housework, so they have to take over? What is this? Is it
no.
that or something else?
No, it's not that. It's not about mothering others. It's about taking that feeling that you have to take that responsibility, basically, because it's your role to do that, right? And this is where you get so many of the overwhelm and burnout issues, not being able to relinquish responsibility. So not being able to stop that giving, not being able to allow others to do things for you, and this is at work, this is at home, this is everywhere. So at work, it can be as much about looking at yourselves and saying, well, okay, where is it that I take control and responsibility where I don't need to? And why am I doing that? What is that? Is it this? So often it's that one of the three big limiting beliefs around the world, and the two big ones are, I'm not good enough and I don't deserve it. I'm not loved is another one, but particularly that I'm not good enough limiting belief. If you're running that limiting belief and you think you're not good enough, you're going to do everything to prove that you are. And the thing is, the person that you're really proving it to is yourself, right? And that's where taking on all the responsibilities you can, being Superwoman, doing everything comes into it. Now, there are other issues, obviously, in corporate organizations. There are sort of relationship issues. There's a whole organization part which has an impact on how you work. However, this holds true to wherever you are, whatever business you're in, whatever profession you're in. You looking at yourself first, asking yourself those questions. Where do I give too much? Where do I not allow myself to receive? What am I doing that's making me feel that I'm putting up with all of this? What do I really, really want? Those are the big questions. And you know what? Those are the questions that we don't ask ourselves. And it's really quite fortunate because that's my business. That's part of your business too. Asking those questions that people are not, and women are not asking themselves. That's
that's really what it comes down to. And I know you work with women, like I said, on a daily basis. I work with a lot of professional women as well, but in a different space. That's one of the reasons why we complement each other so well, I think, in many ways. You work with them to have a real breakthrough in these areas of giving too much, not asking enough, making too big compromises, and you help them see a new way of being. I think that's not just a fantastic segue into the retreats that you do. It is actually a very deep and meaningful way of looking at what how you approach life, because we are right now in a certain way, and that way is to some extent self-destructive. It's non-productive, and it really holds us back, whether women or men. But we're talking here about women in business. Tell us about a new way of being retreats, because these are fantastic 7-day retreats down your neck of the woods. So everybody watching this right now, pay very good attention if you would like to go and spend 7 days
in the French Riviera.
I come from Provence and all this, but then pay close attention right now. This is the thing. So tell us about these retreats and what happens on them, and tell us about the transformation that the women go through, and what comes out at the other end. I mean, we've obviously already discussed what goes in, what comes out and what happens in between?
Yeah, the first thing here, Paul, I think is also that it is so important when you're doing any sort of internal work, any sort of transformational work, is to get outside the environment that you were in when you created it. So this sort of work, this really deep work, you have to get outside of your space. You have to get away from work. You have to get away from it. You have to get to somewhere which is completely different and calm. And that is exactly why the new way of being retreats are here, because it is an amazing environment. I'll tell you a little bit about the actual location where we hold them in a second. A new way of being, it is what it says on the can. It is about creating a new way of being for yourself, how you are in your life, how you are personally, because your personal life is what you take everywhere. There's no difference between personal and professional as far as your energy, your internal patterns and programs are concerned. Because, you know, when you work on your professional life, you first have to work on your personal life, because otherwise nothing will change. So the first thing and the key element of a new way of being is to ask yourself, okay, purpose, what am I here for? What is my purpose? And so many women don't know that, and that's why they come. They know there's something else, but they don't know what it is. At a new way of being, we look at that. Women will identify, they'll discover what their purpose is. They may have an idea, but they may not know exactly what it is. They'll look at what that means. They'll look at what's holding them back and what has been in their way from actually creating that purpose in whatever form it will be in their lives. They heal a lot of the stuff that's gone on in the past, because that is key to what's happening now, and what's happening now is how you create your future. So they learn the techniques. They learn a few energy techniques in order to break down those past issues. We look together at intuitive connections. So a lot of women, men as well, are intensely intuitive, and there's some things that we know. However, we don't listen. We don't listen to our bodies. We don't listen to what all the messages that are coming in, what they're saying to us. So there's a very sort of inner connection part to this retreat. Having said that, there's a very practical, pragmatic part to it as well. And so we take everything, all the work that the women will do on themselves about identifying what it is they want, what it is they've got and they want to keep, what it is they've got and they don't want anymore, how to actually go about releasing the stuff they don't want and creating the stuff they do. And this is about learning that, you know, you don't have to take responsibility for everything that you're taking responsibility for. Okay, well, that's all very well, Helen, but how do I do that? You know, how do I let go of all the drama in my life? You know, every day I wake up and from 9 in the morning through to 10 at night, it's one long drama. How do I do that? They learn how. They learn how to take those techniques and apply them to their own lives. So by the end of the 7 days, there is a complete serenity and calmness to the way that these women view their lives and conduct their lives. It's like there is a totally different energy. There's a shift. It takes a day or two usually to come down from the drama and to start doing the work. But once you do it, once you understand how this works, it is extremely simple. And at the end of the 7 days, you look differently at your life. And you see your life and your purpose very, very differently. And you're ready. You have a plan. But there is a particular process we use that will enable you to use a particular structure on a daily basis to bring about your new way of being, and not only to know it, but to sustain it and to keep it with you on a daily basis, 365 days a year. So it is a truly transformational event process, and an absolutely awesome place,
Yeah.
overlooking the Mediterranean. Beautiful, beautiful.
Let's talk about the place in a second. Anyone looking at this, let's be honest, not you and I, the broader audience and us, if you take a week's holiday anywhere, you go away to the south of France or Italy or wherever it is you go, you're going to need a couple of days to come down from your corporate, buzz that you're on. And you're going to take a couple of days to come down, and then you're going to go and chill out and relax, and you're going to do some stuff and sit by the pool. And so 7 days after you arrive there, 5 days after you finally hit your chill level, you're going to have to start ramping up, and you're going to go back to the same old crap that you came from. And how many people say to us, like, I guess at the end of the holidays go back to the real world. And the reality is the real world is where you are.
This is it. Yeah.
The beautiful thing about a new way of being is you're actually out in that same environment you would be, and in an environment where you would be if you went on a beautiful holiday. You are going to take 2 days to come down from your corporate buzz that you will normally take anyway, but you're going to do it in a really productive way because, well, Helen, you're there and you're going to walk them through some of the basic steps so that when they actually hit that level, when they come down to that level of chill, zen, calm, openness, now you can start building, and over the next 5 days they're going to have a really I was trying to, the German was aufbauend. I'm trying to think of English word, sorry. It's a really constructive period, whereby at the end of it, it's not going to be, let's go back to, we have to go back to reality. They're going to be like, we're going back, we're taking reality with us because this is our new reality. That's sort of what we're talking about, isn't it?
That's exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, it's exactly it, because you learn a new way to respond to your reality. We create our whole world around us through our responses. It's how we respond. The situation is what it is. Right? Any situation is what it is. What it means to you is how you respond to it. Whether you feel fear, frustration, anger, whatever it is, or joy or contentment, is the way you respond to that situation. And so at the end of a new way of being, you have a new way of responding. So you take yourself back. The situation probably hasn't changed. However, for you it's changed because you're living it differently. You're responding to it differently. You have different tools. You have a different understanding. You have an awareness, a different awareness that you can bring to that situation. You've shifted, and it will never be how it was before. And so that is the beauty, and that's why this work is so important, particularly for women. Particularly for women.
I can see that, especially with the number of women I work with. I know a lot of them will be knocking on your door. Now let's talk briefly about the location, because it's a fantastic location. Quite apart from the fact that it's just down the road from Monaco, so anyone who has a gambling bug can go and treat that
cool.
one. Hey, women gamble too, right? Yeah.
There are many bugs you could have in Monaco, actually. Fast cars is another one. Yeah, I'm absolutely blessed to live in what I feel is one of the most beautiful places in the world. I feel so good here personally. I lived here 25 years ago. I'm back. And I'm back for a very good reason. And a new way of being is a big part of that. And so, yes, we have an amazing, luxurious villa just outside of Roquebrune-Cap-Martin, which is itself a few minutes from Monaco. A beautiful pool, beautiful gardens. It is the understated. It's a sort of understated luxury, if you know what I mean. It's the sort of place where you get up in the morning and you can walk around barefoot on the stone floors, and breakfast is outside, and we do yoga and meditation, which is outside, and under the lemon trees and the olive trees, and it is just perfect space to let go, to open up, to let everything that you've brought with you just disappear. And that's the key. Everything you brought with you, in the first day or two, it goes. And then we're in the right place, and then we're in the space to do the real work. And of course, we eat out in wonderful restaurants. We have barbecues at the villa, and we go on mindfulness walks around the gorgeous Cap Martin here. There's time to explore. There's time to relax. There's time to just take a book if you want to sit in a corner, you know, a corner of the garden, and just chill. So it's almost like time expands when you're in that space. You know, when you're in that drama, you never have enough time to do anything. Right? Everything is a rush. You've never had enough time. This is the environment when it's just like it's elastic time. You have so much because you're responding to it differently. You know, so yeah. Well, I'll let you experience it one day when you head down here.
Yeah, I'll obviously have to sneak in with some sort of floral frock on or something, because otherwise it's just for women at the moment anyway. But one thing I think is important for people to know is this is, you know, when people talk about retreats, quite often they think about 20, 30, 50, 60 people or something coming to a big location and it's just packed. This is actually really intimate. Right?
Absolutely.
There's 5 people,
yeah.
right?
This is 5 people, maximum 5. It is a really personal time. It's that you have that, you have that space. You have, you know, I'm there, we're there together. There are other people coming in to share as well. And of course, with the other women who are there, it creates a real I can't even find the words to describe it. There's almost like an energy around it, but and it's an energy of sharing, it's an energy of discovery, and it's an energy of transformation. And of course, there are only 5 women there. Then we do a lot. And it's it's conducive to real shifts. It is a new way of being. That's why it's called what it's called.
Great. Listen, I know that we've talked a lot about the retreat today, but that's really not. This is not to plug to everyone watching this the retreat. Of course, if you're interested, then do reach out to Helen. We'll give you the URL to go to later on. The reason of talking so much about the retreats is because over the next weeks we're going to be sharing a lot more of your content, and that content comes from a new way of being. So we're going to have a whole bunch of different topics. If you listen to the messages that Helen has. Especially if you're a woman in business, even if you're a man in business, especially if you're a woman in business, you're going to hear all these little gems of wisdom. You know, it's the old Fields of Diamonds story. So start bending down and picking up these diamonds as Helen keeps dropping them. Over the next weeks, we're going to be doing a lot more. I'll just share one quick story, mind you, because this actually happened to me in the last 24 hours. Yeah. I was with a young professional woman, 30-year-old. I'm sure she won't mind me mentioning her name, Louisa. She runs a business. She has a 3.5-year-old daughter and a 6-week-old son. Now, we were out together. I set up 3 appointments for her in Sydney. And we were out together on these appointments. And she had her 6-week-old son with her in the pram. And breastfeeding or Now, the looks that we received from professional corporate Sydney on the street was crazy. Right? The people we had meetings with, no problem. Totally got it. Awesome. All these professional people on the street, they had a different perception of what was right and what was wrong. I'm sure someone looking on in, or others were looking on thinking, oh my God, what the hell is she doing? The good thing is that Louisa is a very strong person, and she really doesn't give a rat's about what other people think. But
it is interesting, isn't it? And that's about response. You know, the response when you're aware of that sort of what's going on, the situation. But also, you know, if you're in the position where whoever you are, whether you're a professional woman or not, and you find yourself passing a judgment on something, on someone, on a situation. You know, we do it all the time, and we don't know we're doing it. And this is one of the things when when you realize how much you complain, how much you judge, how much you blame others on a daily basis without even knowing that you're doing it. You know, you will understand that there's no coincidences that all the stuff in your life is happening. No coincidences at all. You know, part of the awareness, part of understanding how you are responding to situations. But good on Louisa.
Yeah, very good point there. Thank you. Cool. Listen, I think we've covered most of the areas. Is there anything you'd like to just round off with, or should we just say, hey, tune in 2 weeks' time?
Well, you know what? What I'd like to throw out there for anybody who's out there, but particularly professional women who are out there and who are thinking, you know, I'm not in the space I want to be. I don't know what I'm doing, or I'm doing this, but it doesn't really have any meaning for me. You know, I think I have more to give, and what do I do? Do this exercise, right? I'm just going to ask them to do one thing, and for sure, if anybody is out there and they do this and they want to email it to me, what they get, please do. It'd be great. We can connect over it. So this is about identifying what's at your core. So let's take in business, professional, if you're a professional, if you're a businesswoman, whatever. What are your core values? What are those things that are actually fundamental to your happiness and your feeling of well-being in business? Whatever they might be. Could be fun, it could be communicating well with people, it could be whatever it is. It could be making money, it could be whatever. What are your core values? And I want you to list 9 of them. 9. Okay, if you can do more, that's great, but at least 9. So sit down, give yourself a few deep breaths, sit down and think, okay, what is it that I need and want and make me feel good in business? Write them all down and then send them to me by email. You'll probably give the email address, Paul. Do that, and we can take it from there, and I think you'll be surprised what comes out of the follow-on from that exercise. So email them to me, and I'll help you with that.
That's a great exercise, and thanks for that, Helen. So yeah, I will give the email. Firstly, the website. There you go. Good opportunity. The website is www.discoveranewwayofbeing.com. That's a mouthful, I realize. I'll say it again, www.discoveranewwayofbeing.com. And the email address, I'm going to guess the best one to use is just simply info@discoveranewwayofbeing.com, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Cool. Wonderful. Listen, Helen, thank you so much again for being with us. It's been amazing as always, some great insights. Love the energy. I know there'll be a lot of people who'll be looking at saying, you know, I want to know more. If they do want to know more, there are 2 ways you can do that. One is go to the website, check out what A New Way of Being is all about, and then reach out to Helen and have a conversation. The other way is if you want a little bit more information before you go and do that, tune in again in the next couple of weeks. Watch on G+, LinkedIn, Facebook. We'll be putting messages out when Helen will be back on Women in Business, and we'll be talking about more of the content from A New Way of Being retreats and from what she does with professional women. So Helen, thank you so much again.
Thank you, Paul. It's been a great pleasure as always.
Yeah, you're too kind. And everyone who's watching, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you again. As I say, keep an eye out on all the social media outlets, and you'll see when the next episode is. Appreciate it very much. Have a great day.